Ok. Hola, hola, queridos amigos, muy buenos días. Gracias por estar con nosotros en este su programa Café con Leche, la voz de los latinos en América. Estamos transmitiendo desde hermosa 1470 M 96.9 FM. Les habla Lilia Galindo. Me acompaña Thomas Elias. Él es un analista político que escribe en muchos periódicos de California y 2 veces a la semana en el Antelope Valley Press. Ahí lo puede leer. Good morning, Tom. How are you?
I'm pretty good today, and I wanted to talk today. Let's talk a little bit about Republicans and moderate Republicans.
Okay, vamos a hablar un poco acerca de los republicanos moderados. Okay.
So I think the most important political event this week is not that some comedian at a Trump rally called Puerto Rican garbage, or even that Joe Biden called the people at that Trump rally garbage because they laughed at the joke about the Puerto Ricans. No, I think the most important thing politically this week is that Arnold Schwarzenegger yesterday endorsed Harris. Now, remember, Schwarzenegger is the last Republican elected to a statewide office in California. And that makes him a pretty significant figure. And he won easily. And he won the recall against Governor Gray Davis in 2003, you recall. And then he won another term on his own after that. And then he was termed out. But Schwarzenegger is always a presence, and he's always around in California politics. And so what he does is he represents, in a way, the establishment or moderate Republicans who used to be a major part of the Republican Party before Trump. The question now is whether there are very many of these moderate Republicans left. We've seen this fall season that bunches of Republicans have endorsed Harris, but it hasn't shown up as meaning very much in the polls. So I'll stop there for you.
Ok, bueno, pues dice, quiero hablarles de algo que es muy importante. Dice, no se trata, queremos hablar de los que eran republicanos moderados. Dice, hay muchos que no se han manifestado todavía. Dice, pero les quiero decir, es más importante esto que hablar de del escándalo, lo que se hizo con los puertorriqueños cuando uno de los cómicos se expresó terriblemente de él y el público que asistía se expresó de él, y también el presidente Joe Biden dijo que los que eran este tipo de basura eran las personas que estaban apoyando al expresidente Trump. Dice, más que eso, lo importante es hablar del exgobernador de California, el Terminator, que siempre me cuesta mucho trabajo pronunciar su apellido. Dice, él fue el último republicano que fue gobernador de California. Y luego dice, así como él representa a lo que son republicanos moderados antes de Trump, y hay muchísimos que son y que no están apoyando a Trump, pero que las encuestas todavía no reflejan en nada. Okay, you can continue.
So we're not really talking here about the moderate, middle-of-the-road Republican voters who used to dominate their party and nominated people like Romney and McCain and Nixon in the past. But we're talking now about the politicians. And many of those former moderate Republican politicians have become MAGA people, followers of Trump. They kowtow to Trump. They do whatever he tells them. The best example of this might be Ted Cruz, the senator from Texas, who's in a very, very close re-election race right now. There's a Democrat named Colin Allred, a former Navy SEAL, who is giving him all he can handle this fall. And we don't know for sure that Ted Cruz will get elected. But Ted Cruz is a great example. You may remember in the 2016 presidential debates among the Republicans in the primary season, Trump called Cruz a wimp and a liar. And yet he's turned out to be the most loyal senator that Trump has had in the Senate while he's in national politics. He's another guy that's been grossly insulted by Trump is Lindsey Graham, the senator from South Carolina. And he's as loyal to Trump as you could possibly be right now, because these guys are afraid that if, and it's not just them, but lots of formerly moderate Republican politicians are afraid that if they go against Trump in anything, even the slightest thing, they will be what's called primary. Trump will run someone against them in a primary and get them thrown out. Or Trump will raise enough opposition in their home states to them where they will have to resign. That, for instance, has happened to Mitt Romney in Utah, who has been a senator for a dozen years now, but he's not running for re-election this year. And the reason why is because he knows he'd lose. He would have lost in the primary easily because he doesn't do just everything that Trump says. He's quiet about it. He's not very vocal, but he was primaried out essentially by Trump. I'll stop there.
Ok, estamos hablando de los republicanos moderados, los políticos como Mitt Romney, John McCain. Ellos, dice, pero quiero hablar de otros políticos que están apoyando 100%, que están en posiciones electas que apoyan 100% al expresidente Trump, a pesar de todo lo que han dicho anteriormente y de todo lo que el expresidente Trump hizo en contra de ellos. Dice, por ejemplo, Ted Cruz dice que durante la convención de la elección dijo, voten por quien su corazón les dicte en lugar de apoyar a Donald Trump. Pero bueno, pues tienen miedo de que pudieran perder. También Lindsey Graham, que también ha sido otra persona que estaba apoyando exageradamente y defendiendo al expresidente Trump, y no es porque estén de acuerdo con él, sino porque tienen miedo que les pueda pasar, que los quiten de su posición si el expresidente Donald Trump pone ahí a alguien de su contrincante, y entonces ellos van a perder la elección. Por eso es que se han disciplinado tantísimo.
Okay, so there are plenty of other moderates, former moderates in Congress also, in the Senate and the House both. But they don't speak up and they don't oppose Trump because, like Romney, they're afraid of being forced to retire. And like most politicians these days, they would rather be in office than be correct, historically correct about things and do the right thing. It's the opposite of the old saying that Ulysses Grant once said. He said, I would rather be right than president. And we don't have anybody with that kind of backbone these days among the Republicans. The ones that had backbone, people like former Representative Jeff Flake of Arizona and Adam Kinzinger of Illinois, they don't run for re-election because they know they'll lose in the primary. And so that they just quietly leave office when their term is up. So Trump has driven the moderates out of his party, at least as any kind of an active element. And now we're about to find out if the voters, the moderate Republican voters, not the politicians, we're going to find out if they have any backbone left, because they are the key to deciding who wins in states like Wisconsin and North Carolina and Michigan. If these moderate Republican voters turn out and vote against Trump, it won't be so much that they're voting for Harris, but or if they don't go out to vote at all, that will be a sign of backbone too, because it takes a vote away from Trump when they don't vote. But we're going to find out next Tuesday and in the weeks afterward when the votes get counted up finally that what these people are like.
Bueno, estamos hablando de republicanos moderados, de políticos, ¿no? Que algunos se han preferido quedar callados con tal de conservar su posición. No quieren ser que el expresidente Trump les ponga ahí alguien que los rete, como ha sucedido en algunos casos por ejemplo, con Mitt Romney, que ahora ya se va a retirar porque sabe que no podría ganar, y hay otra persona que también un congresista que también prefirió retirarse en lugar de estar apoyando al expresidente Trump. Y dice, y lo que pasa es que solamente muy pocos dicen, prefiero estar correcto que estar que conservar mi puesto, ¿no? La mayoría de ellos hacen lo que sea necesario para poder tener el apoyo de los votantes del expresidente Trump. Y sí, bueno, vamos a ver qué pasa en Wisconsin, North Carolina y Michigan ahora, porque vamos a ver si estas personas que son moderados republicanos votan en contra del expresidente Trump, porque el voto es secreto. Now, if they vote against Trump, what is going to be the future, for example, for Lindsey Graham, that he's so, with the things that they said when Trump, before Trump was elected, Rubio, Cruz, they were saying so many bad things about Trump, and now if they vote against him, I think that...
Now they vote for him, these politicians do, but we don't know what the voters will do. And that's a very important thing, because imagine this. Imagine that Trump loses this time, which is entirely possible. And imagine what he does after that if he loses. First, there'll be a lot of lawsuits in the next month or two after the election. But if he loses and he loses in all these lawsuits, and Kamala Harris becomes president, then what's going to become of the Republican Party? Will Trump stick around and vote for and run for election again in 2028 when he's 82 years old? He'd be by far the oldest person to do that. Will he have that kind of staying power? We don't know. Will the Republicans stay faithful to him? Will he continue to have that kind of influence? But then what happens if Trump retires and he's not around to threaten these moderate Republicans anymore with primarying them out? These are all open questions, and the bottom line is, right now, we don't know what would become of the Republican Party if Trump were to lose.
Bueno, estamos también analizando la posibilidad de qué es lo que va a pasar. Le preguntaba yo, ¿qué va a pasar con todos esos políticos que hablaron tan mal de él cuando eran también candidatos a la presidencia y que ahora le sirven increíblemente, ¿no? Y estamos hablando precisamente de Ted Cruz y de Rubio y de muchos otros que, Lindsey Graham, que le han servido hasta los suelos. Dice, bueno, pues si Trump pierde, vamos a tener el problema de que va a haber un montón de demandas y vamos a tener que esperar. Y luego hay que ver si él va a continuar, si pierde, va a querer correr otra vez para el 2028, donde ya va a tener 88 años. Pero si se retira, lo que va a suceder con estos políticos es que se van a tener que ir. Y también porque nadie va a votar por ellos. Tom, I have to go. It's time is gone. Thank you so much.
That's about where I was going to stop anyway. So, are we going to do this next week?
Yes,
Elias?
yes, please, Tom.
Okay. All right.
Hasta la vista. Bye bye. Amigos, gracias.
Maybe we'll know a little more next week. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Nos vemos, amigos. Gracias.